Hello, my name is Lena McElhiney, and I am applying for the position as the administrative assistant. Due to the circumstances with COVID, we are not allowed to have an in-person meeting, so you have asked me to answer some questions. So to begin, my work experience, I've actually been working since I was 14 years old. I began working at Winn-Dixie as a bagger, and this was just a way for me to kind of start understanding money, earning it for myself, little things that I would want, and begin the process of saving up for my first car. Since then, I have had several jobs as a teenager, and into my adult life, I am currently an office manager at a little local family-owned plumbing company. I've been there for 3.5 years now. It is just me in the office, so essentially I am running all aspects of the office, and then I have my foreman who runs everything for the field. I also am a business owner. I own Knots and Events, which is a wedding planning company. I do all events, but mostly I find myself doing weddings. I also am an administrative controller for a indoor volleyball club, and I have been doing that now since 2015, so about 6 years. I've had years of experience in serving different restaurants. I've worked other office jobs as well, but since actually becoming an adult, I have been in the last 2 jobs now for, it was 5 years, and like I said, now 3.5 years, working on the side, having my business as a wedding planner and the bookkeeper, so to speak, for the volleyball club. The reason I'm applying for this job specifically is it's right up my alley. I am currently an office manager, as I had just mentioned, which is obviously very similar to administrative assistant. And then I also own my own wedding business, and that is what this position is for, is, for Kelly Kennedy events. So with that said, I think that it's a great opportunity for me to do something that I truly have a passion for. I have learned a lot about plumbing in my 3.5 years, but obviously owning my own event planning company, that is something that I truly find joy in. So kind of taking my current job and putting it into my field of, events and planning, I truly think it would be an ideal job. And why I think I'd be great at this job is for those exact reasons as well. I already am a part of the wedding planning business and community. I have a lot of background knowledge in it. So I think working in that field, I can bring a lot to the job. I don't think you'll have to spend a lot of time training me because I'm going to be already knowledgeable and understand the way certain things go and how certain things need to be handled as well. When it comes to my greatest weakness, that's a great question. I would have to say, as great as being organized is, it also has some downsides to it. I find myself having issues handing over the reins when I have to work as a team. I am organized, therefore I, in my head, have already created how I want this project to go or how I want things to happen. And sometimes it is difficult for me to either hand something over to somebody else, sit back and watch them do something and try to understand there's other ways outside of my own ways to get that job accomplished. I can work with teams, and I have worked with teams for sure. Every wedding I work, I have to work with a team, so that's not an issue. Per se, it's just more, as I explained, sometimes it's just you want to just do it yourself and make sure it gets done right, or it gets done in the way that you want it done. So that, I would say, is something sometimes hard for me to sit back and just watch happen and unfold. But in the long run, if the job is complete and it's done properly, then that's the ultimate goal, and that's what teamwork is all about. A challenge or conflict that I have faced at work, and how I've dealt with it. I'm going to come back to that one because I truly can't think of something right now. I definitely want to get you an answer, but I'm going to skip over that for just a minute. So tell me about a time you demonstrated leadership skills. I think I was born a leader. It's something I'm very good at. And I don't mean that in a cocky way by any means. So I think there's several situations where I've stepped up to show leadership skills. One offhand, as you know, a flip when a ceremony site is going to be the same as a reception site. So after the ceremony during cocktail hour, you have a very small window to completely flip that area. So one event I was working, we had a really large flip that needed to take place, and there was a team there to do it, and we got it done in time. But as we're removing the ceremony and we're bringing in the reception, I find there's no one really taking lead and pointing out, where do these tables need to go based on the floor chart and the seating chart and how many chairs are at each table and things like that. So as we're all shuffling around and we're getting the job done, I found I kind of decided to step up and take that lead and grab a floor plan and say, okay, you guys, and as tables are being carried in, this one needs to go here and this one needs to go here. And then once they were set, I'd shift them, into place. And then as people are carrying chairs in, table 8 needs 10 chairs, but this table needs 7. And we ended up doing the flip, and we did it with time to spare, which was awesome because it was definitely a lot of work. But I think just kind of stepping up and not having everyone just bring chairs and tables in, and actually just initially doing that table got placed where it needed to be placed, and those chairs were placed where they needed to be placed, instead of getting everything in and then having to essentially move everything again into place. So I think that was one of the times that I feel I stepped up as a leader. Another time is actually during my serving. I worked at Peaches, which is a restaurant, a breakfast and lunch restaurant. It's extremely fast-paced, and with that, there are times where people get in the weeds, which other servers are behind, is essentially what that term is referring to. And I have found, on those Sunday mornings after church, I will bus tables, I will seat tables, I will get drinks for other people. I, would even just completely pick up a table if I needed to and get an order in for that server, just to try and help them out. It reflects the restaurant as a whole. I don't think it should come down to saying, my teammates those days were any less than me, or that I can handle more than them. It's just a matter of, when you come to Peaches, you're going to be taken care of. And I wanted to be a team player, and I would step up and show that leadership and do exactly that and make sure people got in there. They, without too long of a wait, they were happy with it and they left on a positive note. And that's truly all that mattered in that sense. So to go back to a challenge or conflict that you faced at work. One thing that I did face, we just recently went under new ownership at my current job, at the plumbing job, sorry. And prior to the new owner, we had a lot of communication issues. She wasn't very involved in the company. And she and I wouldn't say we butt heads by any means, because we didn't. But it got to a point where she would come in only every couple weeks. And instead of just approaching me and talking to me or asking about something, it almost always seemed like she would come across like, why isn't this done? Or why did you do it this way? Or that I was doing things wrong. and it affected my confidence as an office manager, because they are leaving me to completely run their office and only come in every couple weeks. And when they came in, it almost seemed like she would never just, good job, or hey, you know what, you did a great job, this got done, but next time maybe you could do it this way. And it always just seemed like she was just kind of beating me down in a way. And so with that, it got to the point where I finally, instead of resigning or, you know, completely losing confidence or just building a resentment towards her, I sat down with her and I discussed it with her, and I expressed the way I felt, and I expressed how I felt underappreciated, and, you know, that they're leaving me with their company and I didn't feel appreciated for it. I didn't feel like they valued me. And we sat and we talked it out for probably about an hour in a meeting, and things changed and they improved. And while we didn't leave on, you know, back to fantastic terms, they were in much better terms. And had she not sold the company, I would have been in a much better place. And I think that took a lot, because not everyone either has the courage to sit down and talk to a boss on that level. But I didn't just leave. I didn't just quit. And I think that that was a challenge for sure for me, to have the confidence to confront her and actually sit down and speak with her. So that's what I feel like that is a recent event that happened that I could think of. And sorry, I had to originally skip it. So with all that said, I would love the opportunity to continue this interview over the phone, or hopefully once COVID settles back a little bit, we can meet in person. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me through phone, email, text message. When I send this, I will also send my cover letter and my resume. And again, my name is Lena McElhiney, and I am applying for the administrative assistant position. Thank you so much for your time.